first day we've focused on deal sourcing. Deal sourcing about negotiations, about the 10-step process, about how to interact and find buyers. So we've done lots of different strategies around that. Moved on to the second day today, and it's all been about investing. So we've done rent to rents, we've done lease options, we've done buy to lets, we've done new developments, we've done everything in one day. So we've had a really good time down here and looking forward to what the future brings.
So, well, look, let's start from the beginning. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, what happened before you even came on board? Like, talk to me about that period.
I was at uni, and I was doing a football business and finance course. I was really wanting to go into football full time, playing football, love football. I came down to London to do a speaking event at Wembley, because that's one of the campuses. I had a spare morning, and I was kind of wasting my time. I thought, well, actually, everybody I know who's got a little bit of money is in property, so I think I'll just go to a property event. And then ended up coming to your workshop, which was just a little 2-hour workshop. I think there was 3 of us in the room, which was actually quite good. And yeah, just sort of a brief introduction to the whole concept. Right, this is what sourcing is. This is what, you know, how you can make money without actually having to buy properties.
And what did you think of the concept? As in, because it's a spare morning for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm trying to think back to that, because obviously I know so much about it now. I'm trying to put myself in what was naive, stupid Jack thinking at that time. So I think I was just like, I think I was amazed that you could make money through property without actually doing anything. And I think one of the main things that I took away is that you could earn a hell of a lot more than the average estate agent does, and letting agent, especially estate agent, because we're looking at sales at that time, and you know, you're working on behalf of an investor as opposed to working on behalf of an agent, but on behalf of the vendor. But yeah, it was mind blowing, and I straight away then went, oh well, I can source properties for footballers. So that was the connect. I was like, right, well, who has a load of money that I can help, and who do I want to help? Footballers, and that's how it came together.
And did you go away and try doing it yourself, or what happened? What was the kind of journey?
One way or another, I set up a business. I then came to the training days in London.
Yeah.
Which were 2 days of, you know, really intense. There was a bit on rent to rent. There was a bit on sourcing. There was a lot on that how do you do it step by step. This is how you do it from A to B. These are a couple of nuances that can happen and how to overcome them. And then took it from there, and that was sort of the first real step into it, to get educated, and then it was about like taking action from there.
How did that pan out?
Very good. I'd say, long story short, 3 years later, I've got a couple of sourcing businesses. I've got rent to rent business. I've got rent to SAs. I've got a couple of properties I've just bought up in the northeast that we're doing a conversion on, from a 7-bed to an 8-bed all en suite. I'm raising investor finance for refurb costs and new acquisitions. We've got funds that we're potentially working with. So that's where I am now. But and just to get an idea of the trajectory of where it's gone, but sort of doing a bit of sourcing on the side. We did some sourcing in-house with you as well, on the buy-to-let side. So I had the exposure to education, sourcing, rent-to-rent, buy-to-let, and then really found a niche from there over probably 6 to 9 months.
Amazing. So the question I wanted to ask you, Jack, actually, is if you can remember, what did it feel like to bank your first bit of money through the process? Do you remember it? Do you remember when you thought it's working? Oh God, it's
Yeah,
working.
well, I do remember that when I signed up to the course, I had no money. Because you remember Zach that I did it with. The course was, you know, the course cost money to go on, and I didn't put it this way. I didn't have my 50%, so Zach paid for it all, and I actually paid Zach back over 12 months. I don't even know if you know that, to be
I
fair.
didn't know that. I didn't know
No,
that.
well, that's what happened. So I didn't even have the money. And a bit selfishly, I knew that Zach probably wasn't going to go on and do it, but I needed his support to get in and do it myself. So, yes, I didn't even have the money. So, I'm trying to think the first deal that I did was a rent to SA for a lady called Vicky um, in Liverpool, and it was 2 studios, and they were 550 quid a month each. And she battered me down so that I did it for 3 grand for both of them. I was trying to get 3 grand a piece. Yeah, and I remember just looking at it like, whoa, like, that's done. That deal's gone. Right, how do I get the next one? So I was just buzzing. I was like, right, I'll be able to, at least I'll be able to pay Zach back, be able to eat this week. But I was absolutely buzzing about it.
All right, brilliant. So you've made some notes, obviously. I wanna know what have you how's it been? You know, it's I think a lot of people go into this thinking that, you know, is it easy? Is it hard? Will it work? Will it not work? So
Yeah,
what's been your experience?
I think what the notes that I've made is sort of looking at the stuff that I've learned from you and over the things that you specifically taught me, stuff like exit before entry, how to actually source the properties, how to build a business off the back of it. Because okay, you can have your first deal, which is great, but how are you going to scale that to where everybody wants to be, which is 5 to 10 deals a month with staff members, with a team, with a presence, with a brand, all these different things. So for me, it was, the first step that we did together was get educated and get the knowledge. The second bit was take some action. So you see it works and you believe in it and you know that you can do it. And until you actually see you do it, there's always that bit of doubt in there. And then it's like, well, now I know this thing works, how do I scale it? So what are the systems that I need? How do I get investors? What strategy I'm going to use? All these sorts of things come to mind. And I'll say I built one business, and that maybe took 2 years to build a good solid business. We have 8 people that work in that business, which is a rent to SA sourcing company. We only do rent to SA. We only target that market. It's what we're good at. It's our bread and butter, and I think that's a big thing you can get caught trying to do everything at the start, which I definitely did. Stick to a strategy, stick to what you enjoy, what suits you in that moment, and then you've helped me scale the business in terms of getting people in, different ways that you can recruit people, commission only, but high commission. Can you do it on a salary? How is that salary going to be paid? What system is being used, such as HubSpot, managing that customer relationship, setting tasks, email marketing, all these sorts of things, nurturing leads. That's when it becomes from a sort of a hustle to a business.
Yeah, 100%. I remember there was one point where I was getting you involved in the buy-to-let sourcing. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
You brought a client, and I think from my memory, you came in thinking, well, let's see how this goes. I don't know if you remember it, and we had that
Oh
meeting.
no, I
Amazing.
remember his. Yeah, I remember
And
his
then
name.
every single season,
Yeah,
you say this, you say this, you say this. So
yeah.
I think a lot of people, until they see it happening, they don't believe it,
Yeah.
right? They don't see how fast it is. But what's your view on that?
Yeah, no, it's obviously when we went that day, I was like, I'd spoke to him on the phone. he definitely wasn't what I call now a warm lead. He had a little bit of money, but not that much either. I was like, oh, this is probably not gonna happen. And obviously we had a sales script to go through, and obviously you were going through the script without having a script in front of you, just going bang, 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 bang. And by the end of it, he came on board, and he took a deal, and it was like, whoa. Just the power of knowing your shit and following a certain structure and a certain process, really does allow you to make things happen. When you know what you're doing and you've got the confidence to execute on it. It just showed to me that it was real, that you can do it.
Do you remember how much money he paid?
£4,000, I think it was.
Yeah, £4,000.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
It was within, I think it was within 24 to 48 hours from the
Yeah,
meeting.
I was going to say within 48. It was definitely within 48 hours because it was on a Thursday morning, and I'm pretty sure it's the Friday afternoon that we got it about. I don't know why, but one of the clocks coming to me that we were there, and I'm like, right, done, that's it.
All right. So, what have been the challenges then in terms of making it work? Yeah,
Yeah.
overall, biggest things that you.
I would, property is a people game, and in sourcing you rely a lot on other people. So be patient and it's a numbers game. You will get deals through, but the deal that you think you're going to get through will probably fall through, and the one that you think is going to fall through goes through. It's sometimes it just that's that way, but I'd say the main challenge is definitely the people. Property is quite a simple thing to get your head around once you got the knowledge and the training. But then people come in and they have opinions, they have emotions, they have this way of working, that way of working. So I'd say that's probably the biggest challenge. And then I would say the biggest challenge in the first 6 months was not having shiny penny syndrome. So I know I was looking at developments. The next day I was looking at buy-to-lets. The next day I was looking at rent-to-rents. The next day I was like, I'm going to raise finance. The next day I'm in a JV, and I'm like, I'm not getting anywhere because I'm not focused on one thing, getting that right first, going deep on it. And when I did that, I built a good solid rent-to-sale business, which is then sourcing business, which has then allowed me to go on and do all these other things. So focus as narrow as you can on one target market and one product, marry them all, go deep, build a brand around it, and then expand from there.
And how do you feel about having from taking a morning off, right, chancing a property event to 3 years later having a fully fledged business, 8 people working, brand presence, you got deals with the local councils, I think you said, you got funding, you got how does that feel? Because like you said in the beginning, it's hard to imagine what Jack was like before because your brain's been filled with all this knowledge. But do you ever just sit back and think, do you know what, it worked?
Well, I only sort of reflect positively when you have conversations like this. Usually it's like, I'm not far enough yet. Why am I not there yet? Because now I'm looking at like, right, well, now I need to get, funds on board and stuff like that. And we need to be looking at, instead of doing one deal, we're now looking at buying 16 in a go. We're now looking at buying a block of 50. And it's like, well, I'm not there yet. I want to be there. So my mind's always focused naturally on what can I get more, what can I get more, what can I get more. But yeah, to look back and to think, none of my family are in business. None of my family are in property. So I've not had that sort of upbringing or surrounding. As you know, just mentioned before, I had no money. So it's not like I could stack a load of money that I could put into stuff. No money. So to get where I am today, and it is a relatively short period of time, it means a lot to me to be able to do that. It's changed my life. It gives me a bit of freedom. It's opened up so many exciting relationships and opportunities, and it doesn't just. There's a lot of people that I've seen try to do it and they fail because they don't put the work in. You know, they get one done and then they throw the towel in. You know, I don't think I've got necessarily the most talent in the world, and I am learning all the time, but I've just never stopped in terms of I've never said, yeah, right, that's it, I'm packing in, I'm stopping, you know, it's just, if you don't stop, you can't lose. It's my zone. So yeah, it's huge. You know, we've gone from £0 in the bank to turning over 6 figures a year in that business.
And that's within 3 years.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, we've nearly done over gross revenue. We've nearly done over £1 million in the entire, you know, since the second combining year on year.
How does that feel?
Yeah, it's pretty mental. You know, all the challenges that come with that, and charging VAT and all that fun stuff, and you know, right, as you get higher and higher, it is good. I struggle talking about this. I try to be quite modest and not but
Be honest.
It is definitely, it's changed my life, and it's allowed me to go deeper, because once you know the basics, you then go to the next level. So like when we started working together, we did a lot of the knowledge, but then what we added on top of that is we did some sales training. So stuff like the triple P, the if would, the yes ladder, how to pitch, which we said, you know, with Edward and going through that client.
Yeah, because you were in that sales masterclass that I was doing. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I remember.
So you taught me, so that was like another layer on top. Then you've got all the networking and negotiation and stuff like that training that we did. And then
the exploring sessions.
Exploring sessions. I mean, we used to be on Zoom till 1:30 in the morning, some nights in COVID, coming up with the wackiest ideas in the world. I mean, it works, of course it works, but how have we come to this? I mean, we did all sorts of crazy stuff. It was good. We tried stuff, it failed, but then we kept going. It failed, we kept going. It failed, and something stuck, and it worked, and it made the product better. It made the service better.
And how do sort of, have you seen people around you change towards you or anything like that?
Oh, massively, yeah. I think when I was growing up, I was always sort of the cool kid, so to speak. I was always trying to get in that group. And because I was decent at football, as I got later through high school, I managed to get there. And then when I kind of got there, I was like, well, this isn't actually that cool. It's just, you know, sort of thing, and getting into and that's sort of why I sort of started looking at property and doing my own thing, and I still have good friends and stuff like that, but their attitude towards me is they see me as like a, you know, businessman. He knows what he's doing, he's got his own thing going on, how's he done that? And because I'm constantly educating myself on different things and speaking to people, networking, and you know, they're just like, they'll come to me and ask about, right, how do I get a mortgage? How do I, you know, what do I do if somebody's passed away and I'm entitled to some of the, you know, these are the sorts of questions. And I'm like, to be honest with you, I don't know, but if I was going to guess, I would put that with that. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Right, I'm off. And it's that, you know, I definitely, I don't want to, this sounds like the wrong thing, but I've definitely attracted better friends that are of a different, nothing against the friends I had before, but they're just, it was a completely different environment. It was lads going out, getting pissed, and that sort of environment. Where now it's very much, how can we help each other? What are we looking at? What do you want to discuss? What can I do for you? Have you seen that? Have you seen this? It's the whole environment. I'd say that's the biggest thing. You need to get yourself in the right environment. You can't do it by yourself.
And family, how's that? As in,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean, I've always had a really good relationship with family, so you know, they're just sort of really proud of what I've done and stuff. And they're like, you know, my dad always said to me, I have no idea what you do or how you do it, but keep doing it. That's his message. He says, I'm not bothered, I don't care, but just keep doing it because it's working. So I keep doing it.
oh, what about when it's not working? That, I think that's the
Yeah, well,
challenge. That's the
yeah,
challenge.
I think I can't. I'm quite private and stuff, so I don't necessarily go into too much detail around it. You know, I only answer questions when I get asked them, sort of thing. But yeah, when it's not going well, you have to find out what is the problem, where is that problem coming from, why is it a problem, what are the solutions to fix it. You know, not everything goes right. I think the biggest thing, don't let that knock your confidence. Every single business has difficult customers, difficult situations. Businesses make mistakes for other people. You know, we've made mistakes for our clients, and we've said, look, we made a mistake. It's been honest and open and saying that nobody's perfect, and everyone tries to go around. But every deal we do is amazing. Really? Yeah.
So the one thing I wanted to touch on really quickly, Jack, was that I had a student the other day, right? And we were having a similar sort of call. And they've just banked, right? Like they're on their, I think they're on their 8th or 9th deal now. Okay, like in a short space of time, right?
Yep.
So they had a target, they smashed their target, and I said, so what have you done anything differently? And they said, no, literally just follow the process to a T. Why is it easier now than before? Because when you look back at it, every single step was just followed. But when you're looking forward, it doesn't seem that simple. So what's your opinion?
For me, it's looking at the bigger, when you understand the bigger picture and you see each step come through, instead of working forwards and working backwards, which is one of the things I use in my business. I use it in all the decisions I make. And it's something that you taught me, which is the exit before entry concept. So I was initially introduced through your sourcing training, but I use it with everything. I go, right, well, what is the exit? If I'm going to enter into this, how am I going to get out of it? If I need, if I need to get out, what is the exit? If it's a deal, if it's, so for example, we're building a business at the minute. Before we even looked at the business, I was like, right, well, who can I sell that business to? Who's it valuable to? What's the exit on that business? Before I even get into it, do that with all the opportunities. So if I'm looking at a property investment, have I got where is my profit coming from, and how secure is that? How good is my exit before I buy that deal? So that's a massive one for me. I use that in virtually every decision I make. I'm like, right, what's the output, and is it worth then putting within the input required?
Just reverse engineering it, basically.
Yeah,
make sure.
100%.
All right. Yes, it's good. So what's a day in life for Jack now? How does that look?
A lot of coffee, a lot of traveling, a lot of meetings. Yeah, I've
Enjoyable?
yeah, no, I love it. I've got a lot of freedom. I think I could go one or two ways. I could sort of settle where I am now. And I sort of did that when I got my first business that I built off the back of your training.
You were trying to sell, you could have sold that as well, right? That's what you
could have sold that business, yeah, which fell through, unfortunately. But we had a sale agreed on that. And I sort of plateaued at that point. I've still got that business, but it depends what type of person you are. That wasn't enough for me. I was like, right, I'm gonna go do another one. What's
the future now then? Where are you heading to? What's the target?
So we're building a supported living group. So we've got social housing. We've got, as I say, supported living. We do temporary accommodation. and we're trying to provide an end-to-end private sector solution to help end homelessness across the UK. So, you know, picking people up off the streets, putting them into temporary accommodation, putting them into supported living, and then into social housing, and then hopefully the private sector then, so that they've been through the whole process, all in our accommodation, all in high quality spaces, to really give them the best opportunity to get back on their feet. So that's our goal. We don't take any stock that's below standard. You know, we've turned, I can't think of how many deals we've turned down when some other people will have gone, yeah, I'll have that, just chasing the money. You know, for us, it's very much, we're not taking stuff on unless it's going to help the problem, not add to it. So yeah, that's what we're looking at next. We're in conversations with funds about, you know, sourcing for them, and then having our supported living exit, so that the fund gets a good deal. They get steady income, and it allows us to make a bigger impact and a bigger dent in our goal. And therefore, then we want to become the long-term goal is to become self-funding, so that then we have autonomy about what houses we buy, when we buy them, how quick we can buy them. We don't have to rely on a fund to buy them. So that's the end goal, is that to build a fund that where you've got the ability to buy what you want when you want, to help really make a serious dent in the goal.
What advice would you give for someone starting out, similar to yourself? You know, what if you were back in the day,
yeah,
into Jack as you are now, would you have changed anything?
No, I just said just do it, and make sure you know. I think I've always done this, and I don't know if it's because I'm an arse flicker or what, but I have always, whether it's at uni, whether it's with you, whether it's with my, you know, I do football coaching as well, do my UEFA tutor and stuff like that. I always ask a million questions constantly. What's this? What's this? What's this? I've got this. How do I do this? How do I do that? Help me, help me, help me, help me. Because, you know, you don't know what you don't know. So 3 years ago, I didn't know what a fund was. Now I'm working with one. And it's like, if you don't know it's there, how are you supposed to do anything about it? So you need to ask all the time, and just do it. The action speaks louder than words. You know, even if you do it, you don't like it, guess what? You can do something else. So like when I did our property stuff, I also started an Amazon business for someone. Absolutely hated it. Parked the bus. I spent 500 quid on education. Did the 8-week course thing. Hated it. Too much stock. It just wasn't for me at all. But the sourcing side, for me at that time, was like, oh, that's a much better business. I could do it for footballers, which I want to do. I want to help them. So even if you do it and it's not your bag, or whatever, at least you know it's not your bag, and you can go. That's like the extreme worst case scenario, you know. So
Could you have done it without being formally trained?
I think I think you probably can, but I think it takes you a lot longer to do it. That's what I would say. And you've got to be a serious networker. You know, you've got to be going around and networking with everybody, traveling places, speaking to people. You've got obviously all your mileage costs, your coffee costs, and all that. You end up spending the same amount in a much longer period of time. Okay, you get the benefit of a network, but you can do both. You can still network and get an education behind you. I would say education is probably 20%, 20 to 25% of it. It's the action on that knowledge that you know, everybody's judged on results, rightfully so. So in order to get results, you need action. A lot of people can do it, can get the knowledge, and you without the knowledge, you don't know what action to take, so it's pointless. But get the knowledge, then take the action, and you will get results.
I think there's a lot of people out there that are going around looking at stuff, learning stuff, and maybe even taking action, but it's not working.
Yeah.
So what's your take on that?
Don't stop. Don't stop. I haven't stopped. I'm still going. Like, it's the moment you stop them is the moment you lose. You can never. I think it was Matthew. Is it Mahoney or whatever? McConaughey, the actor. Yeah, I can never say his bloody name, but he has a great quote. And he said that. Yeah, let's call him Matt, the good actor. Let's call him that. He's not bad. He's won a few Golden Globes or whatever they have. But yeah. Anyway, he said that. He said that I just keep going. Because if I keep going, I never lose. I never actually lose because I never give up. I never give up on a dream. I never give up on the next film. I never give up on the next Golden Globe, whatever it is that he's after. Never give up, because if you want it that much, if you really want it, then you will get it eventually. Because as you're going along, you'll pick up new information, and eventually it will good.
Mate, perfect. Well, look, I for one am very proud of you. Being there at the very start, you know, seeing how you are. I always thought you were quite confident anyway. You're very personable, but I've definitely seen over the last 3 years you grow as an entrepreneur, you know, as a businessman. And like you said earlier, it's about the results, right? I've seen you get some extraordinary results. And I'm really, really proud that you've done that, because, you know, it's taken grit, it's taken action. It's, you know, I've spoken to a few times where things weren't working. And it was just about powering through it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and ask for help. You know, like you've always helped me when I've needed it, and when we've always had a really good relationship. And you know, aside from all that stuff, you taught me stuff on a different level in terms of, and I think you'll like this one. So the morning routine, I still do a bit of meditation. I still to this day brush my teeth with my left hand. I still to this day that's the only thing I do with my left hand. Every day I challenge myself every morning by brushing my teeth with my left hand, and I absolutely hate it. But every time honestly, I just go, yeah, Shane told me left hand, I'm gonna do it for the brain. I still do it.
That's the sole reason you're successful, by the way.
Yeah, honestly, if you just brush your teeth with your weaker hand, you automatically get 100 grams. That's just how it works. It's just
it's
simple maths. It's simple maths.
That's what
plus
B. That's
and even stuff like the remedies when you're not feeling too good, the honey, turmeric, hot water, lemon, that's still in play. All these little things, just really small, minor details that we discussed. I mean, we went to you know, a deep level with it, but yeah, just I thought you'd like the toothbrush thing. That I still do.
Mate, I'm so glad it's part of your routine. I'm so glad.
We still know. I bet you've only done it once, one day. You did it that one day that you told me, and you're like, look at that idiot still brushing his teeth with his left hand.
I said one day he's going to admit this on camera.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, mate, what a journey! Really good,
Yeah.
really good, mate. I'm really, really proud. I think you've done really well. I tried to get you involved in that bigger one. Obviously, I think the development, remember?
Yeah.
I think the time wasn't quite right because you were in the middle of the sale, or you were trying to sell and all that sort of stuff was going on.
Yeah, there were too many things going on, weren't there? Too many different, being pulled too many different directions.
How close do you think you are from letting the business run itself?
PPS does run itself.
That much
so
involvement from you?
not really, no. I mean, I do a few team meetings and stuff like that. But, I do a lot. I do say like training and recruitment. So it's everything that I do is working on the business rather than working in it. So I don't do any of the sourcing. I don't do any of the sales. The actual money and product is nothing to do with me. I just work on making the team better, making the systems better, making, you know, like we've just got some marketing stuff in to help on that side, to help more leads come through. So it's really just helping the business when it needs the help, as opposed to right every day I'm in it, I need to make 100 calls today to get 50 leads on the phone, and then 50 leads will convert to 5 good phone calls, which has convert to 3 viewings and a couple of deals. You know, I don't do any of that activity.
But you had to first.
Yeah, 100%. You have to know what you're on about. You know, otherwise. And sometimes I do go back on the phones to make sure that what they're telling me is correct. Just because if you're not in touch with what's going on, you're almost second guessing what they're telling you. You know, so you know if you're saying, "Oh, well, there's nothing on the rental market," I will, in the background, maybe look at the rental market. Is there stuff on? There's loads of stuff on. Okay, there's 2 things happening here. Either they're not contacting them, and we're not making enough calls, or they are contacting them and there's just nothing. It's the call itself. So then I'll make a few calls and go. The market does change, people change, companies change, so you do need to be in touch with it. And if I could grow that business further, and then obviously the next step would be to get somebody in to do that business development and sort of management role. But as I say, that's not my focus. My focus is keeping that business where it is and then focusing on other businesses.
So is laptop lifestyle a myth, or do you think it's real now? Could you just go and live on a beach and run your business?
Yeah.
How realistic is that?
Without a doubt, not a problem. I literally live in Starbucks. So whether that's a Starbucks in England or a Starbucks in, yeah, I've been out to Budapest for 5 days. Continued there, no problem. The only thing that you miss is the viewings. But there's 3rd-party companies that you can use to complete your viewings. You know, if you really need viewings to be done, that's the only thing you miss. If you build a team, guess who can do the viewing?
Mate, I'll be seeing you in Bali then, I guess.
Yeah, I have actually had a look at it. I've actually looked at it. I nearly went to Portugal for 3 months last year, but it just wasn't the right time. It was around the same time that we were on about that stuff, so yeah, I nearly went to Portugal for 3 months. Definitely want to do a lot of travelling. The only thing that you miss by being abroad is there's nothing like a good face-to-face conversation. You miss that that unique human thing that when you 2 humans are sat together, there's a different connection than you get over the phone or on Zoom.
Do you need to do that, or is that more just like a passion thing for you?
No, that's more of a perfectionist thing. Could you get by without doing it? Yes. But to really connect with somebody and really, if you want it. I think the way that I look at it is if I had a Zoom call, I feel like I'm taking a chance that there's that 1% chance because it was on Zoom, I didn't make that extra connection with them, and that could be the reason that between a yes and a no. So the only reason that I would say that you lose anything is because if you go in person, you get that little extra connection, and that could be the difference. And most of the time, it's not going to be. But I don't want to leave it to chance. Any little bit of that to chance, I'd rather just. At the minute, you know, once you get to a certain level, and you make them choice, I know you do quite a lot from desktop, and you only go see people when when you need to. I know you obviously you've got stuff abroad and stuff like that, so you can do that quite easily.
You know, when you were doing sourcing for my company, do you remember?
Yeah.
And you were in the office as well, in the London office, sitting there with a desk set up for you. How was that?
See, I don't really like. I'm a very social person, but I don't like being around people when I'm working because I get distracted very easily. So I actually prefer my own space. If we're in an office, I would need my own little box.
Yeah.
So I struggle with that. So I think the hybrid model works really well because the people that prefer in an office and need that accountability in that environment, you've got that. For the people that prefer to crack on in front of the laptop in their own space, that works for them. So I think the hybrid model works. But I 100% prefer working with nobody near me.
And but was there a benefit in your learning by experiencing it practically, or do you just think actually it just made you realize that you need to be yourself around yourself? What was?
I think in terms of picking stuff up, you have conversations that you wouldn't necessarily have in Zoom. So, you know, for example, I might overhear a conversation that one of the other guys is having about, you know, so I'm like, whoa, what is that all about? And then he talks me through the deal and you pick up that little golden nugget and you're like, oh, so that's how you do a block deal, or that's how you do a development deal, or that's what it looks like in that area. Oh, he's just used that line. Why did he use that line then? Oh, because he just gave me this objection. That's how I've been having that all the time recently. I didn't know how to answer it. You know, you get that sort of thing that you don't get online.
Or not by being in the actual immersed in the environment, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, look, Jack, mate, thank you for your advice and your positivity. I like the fact that you're aiming towards a bigger goal now. I think that's really good, you know,
Yeah.
that you're moving towards something even bigger and better, especially when it's trying to help the society as a whole. And there's something very endearing about that. Not that I didn't think you were endearing before, mate.
No, it's all right.
Mate, obviously, I want to attract more people like you because I want more success stories. And people are only inspired from, you know, people being successful. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no way around it.
I think, as I say, I think the main reason that I was successful was not from the education; it was all the support that came with it. You know, the education was great, but that wouldn't have got me where I am today alone. It was us doing the exploring sessions. It was the little sales sessions that we did. It was just a little bit of support and everything. You know, every little drop along the way of guidance.
Yeah. And see, it's interesting you say that because if you'd received all those drops at once, they wouldn't have been as potent.
No.
So it's actually about measuring when someone needs the drop. And that's
100%.
exactly what I want to do. I want to say, get to this stage,
yeah,
and then we'll show you what to do next. Get 100%. To this stage.
Yes. Now, you like this as well. I've still got at the top of my screen. You can see what that says there.
Shane.
Yeah, but next to it. Oh, gee.
Keeping it real, mate. Always keeping it real.
You gotta keep in touch.
All right, mate. Brilliant. Really good catching
Beautiful.
up. We'll see. I'll see you. Let me know when you're down, and we'll definitely have a coffee. It'll be good to catch up face to face.
Definitely. Thanks for inviting us on as well to have a chat.
Say that again.
So thanks for inviting us to a chat.
Mate, yeah, it's really useful. Really, really useful.
Yeah.
Just to try and understand what I'm doing, but also inspire others.